loves. It is Monday, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm your host for today, Laura Lalaki, and today we're diving into a topic that hits at the heart of our community, the Black family and its impact on wealth building and legacy. Dr. George C. Fraser recently said something that shook me. He believes the Black family is in crisis. He pointed out that Black marriage rates have dropped from 84% to just 34%. That's not just a number, it's a reflection of how we've moved away from combining our wealth, our strength, and impact as a people. So today we're going to be asking some pretty tough questions like what happened to the Black family? How has the decline in marriage affected our ability to build wealth and create generational change? And most importantly, what can we do to turn this around? So today I'm actually joined by an incredible panel to unpack this. I have Athena Gardner, our CPA and wealth coach, Joe Corley, our licensed therapist, mental wellness coach and educator, and Marlo Layson, TV and film producer. So we're going to start unpacking this critical issue, and together we're actually going to try to explore solutions and strategies to strengthen Black families, elevate our relationships, and reclaim our power as a community. So in order for us to kick this off, I want us to please watch the first part. It's going to be two parts. We're going to dig in. So first off, once you hear this, I want to hear if everybody agrees, and I want to hear our viewership family, if you agree with him or not. So let's see what Dr. George C. Fraser has to say.
There's a talk I give on the 5 biggest challenges Black people have for the next 100 years. The number one challenge is the existential crisis of the Black family. The existential crisis of the Black family. Marriage in our culture is down to 34%. When we were growing up, it was 85%. It's now down to 34%. 71% of our sisters are not married. 29% will never get married. 63% of our brothers are not married. 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American Black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth.
That's hard to hear. It really is, because we here at Fly Nubian Money and so many other organizations that we are in touch with and work with directly, we're all about building Black wealth. We're all about Black family, Black love, Black everything. And to hear this breaks my heart. So I'm going to start with you, Joe. Why do you think marriage rates in the Black community have dropped so drastically?
I think all the systems are doing what they're designed to do, right? Break us down, tear us apart, and we've allowed it. And now we're at a stage where we understand what it is, and a lot of us are still allowing it. Some of us are not. But what we see in culture and what we see in our homes sometimes is not appealing, for the most part. So why would anybody lean into that? Is what I believe, just to start.
I believe so too. I believe we're fed a lot of things that they want to feed us so that we believe it. Because, if you show it, a lot of people believe it, and we don't want to get out of those mind thinking. But thinking back, especially now, guys, we are in the holiday season. So we're always seeing these wonderful films, our Black films showing family being centered around the grandmother and the family coming together. And even though we're arguing in these movies, we come together in the end as a family because some kind of tragedy happens. I think we need to actually see more of that. And I want to ask you, Athena, because you deal with the money. How has the decline in Black marriages affected our ability to build generational wealth?
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I remember saying this specifically on one of the shows last week, that our decline in wealth is correlated to the decline in marriage and relationships. And Dr. George Fraser, who I've had the pleasure of meeting at Power Networking and ABNC, so eloquently put that issue on the forefront, and it's something that we need to hear. We keep trying to do all these things, explore all these alternative lifestyles, ethical non-monogamy, polygamy, baby mama, baby daddy culture, right? Instead of doing what I feel we need to do, which is grow up, learn the skills to have a healthy relationship, whether that is you self-studying, going to therapy, whatever the case is, and learn how to talk to people, resolve conflicts, and have healthy relationships. And also embrace marriage. We're always trying to find these alternative things that we can explore, but does the Black community, can we afford exploring other alternatives to marriage? Clearly not.
I agree. So I'm going to pull it back a little bit because this is very, very deep. So what I want to hear from the panel, and I'll start with you, Marlo, do you agree with what he said? And if so, I want to hear your idea of what has led up to this point. Do you think this is something new?
It's definitely not anything new. And I absolutely agree with what he said. And I think that, we could draw a straight line between this and the good old Americanism, right? I think that this is by design, since they put the people on the boats and shipped them over here as cargo to be the workforce. The plan has been to separate and divide. Right, even when the Emancipation Proclamation was delivered and the slave master had to come out and say, y'all can go, they still found ways, right, to separate people and to say, hey, you always have a place here, but old Joe, he want to leave. He think he better than you, right? So that's where we as Black people, oh, I'm sorry, not James.
We're going to have to pick another name, Marlo.
James left because he thought he was better than everybody else on the farm, right? And so I think it is, the good old American racism is at work, and it is working as designed. And I think that if we don't start there, right, we'll always be trying to figure out what is this? What is this? What is this? This is racism working as it's supposed to be.
I think so too. And Joe, I know we dove in really quick and really hard with this question, just because it just really I feel like an arrow just shot through my heart with those numbers. So my question to you is, do you believe what he's saying? Do you agree with what he's saying about these stats, and where do you think that this does stem from?
Yeah, I do agree with him, and I agree with Marlo. Just like I said, the systems are doing what they're designed to do. Black folks are like the only culture that has been systematically had to deal with basically warfare in their own country. We're behind enemy lines. We always have been, and we're the only ones that have been behind enemy lines for our complete existence here in America. So everybody benefits off of what we do. Obviously, our families are destroyed, because if they were empowered, we would be empowered, right? So, we have to, disenfranchise the man, weaken the woman, destroy the youth, all the things that the system is designed to do. It's doing it. And like I said, now that we know and understand what that is, I mean, we could have had grace and understanding maybe 30, 40 years ago, as we were just trying to figure it out. But now, we know and understand what this is. A lot of us do, and a lot of us are still falling for it. Our celebrities, like I saw the picture yesterday with Sierra and Lala and all these beautiful Black women lined up with Kim Kardashian, right?
Oh,
so
not there.
Yeah, so and what is that leaning into? Now we have, one of the greatest assets to me is the Black woman's body being copied and borrowed by the white woman, and it's another tool used to weaken us. Is all I see. That's all I
And
see.
yet still put us down for our natural
Mhm.
features, very much so. And then making sure to pit the Black woman against the Black man. I think that's working very well. A lot of the times, people who our viewership knows that we talk about some pop culture, correct? We are always looking at what's Cardi B doing, what's Culture and all them people doing. And to me, that also helps to tear us down. We're so focused on what other people are doing that we don't see the value in what should be going on in those relationships. They just want to see what's going on behind the scenes. So Athena, Lawrence Lamar had a comment, and I want to bring up part of that, and I want to get your initial response, and if you agree with him or not. Black men and women had more standards back in the day. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
I agree with that, because when you look at even images of a Black man, Black woman back in the day, they were put together. They had on their tailored clothes. They made sure that you weren't looking crazy. Now, did they necessarily have the best things back then? No, but we made do with what we had, and there was an agreement on roles and just trying to come together. And we have strayed from that. We have strayed from that somehow with integration and some of the other things. We don't operate like other groups do. Even though they are integrated in society, they still put their group first. And somehow we have mistaken integration to mean that other is better, whether it comes to dating, because Black men date at interracially at 2 or 3 times the rate as other men. Whether it comes to what we patron, what we value, a lot of Black businesses do not get patroned. It just trickled down into a mindset where we don't value each other as much as we should. And we are all out here trying to get the respect of other groups, and we're not doing respectable things as a collective. We can't even get marriage together. And marriage is, I keep saying it, marriage is one of the most basic things. Basic things worldwide. There are people in huts on dirt floor married and know how to keep their family together. And somehow in this first world nation that we live in, we can't seem to do that.
I think you hit on some really good points, but we are so not done with this conversation. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to come back right after this commercial break.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens, that's Queens, that's Queens, to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Yes, because we talk about everything here and you don't want to miss a show. It's very simple. You got your little this little thing right here does everything for you. So all you have to do right now, pick up your phone, make sure that you text Queens, Queens, to 87948 so that you don't miss a show. I got my notification right now. So I'm on the show and it's telling me about a notification. So you don't want to miss out. I want to pull up some of the comments because this was taken off of an Instagram post. And I want to bring up some of these comments that we can discuss. And I'm really going to go through these because I think that there's some very valid points. Skeet Moses, I love these names. They crack me up. We have to stop having babies continuously with broken people. We have to look at how we are raising our children. It's a mess. How can you build a great community with dysfunctional people? Birth control, life management. Chocolate Honey says, stop with the stupid podcast balloon popping videos, 50-50 convos, and find your spouse. Ooh. VIP Phil says, fix the music media industry that profits off of pushing this smut on our youth. At this point, they're only doing what they hear and what they see 7 p.m. on Friday. And King Calicat says music industry and social media influencers push negative images that too many try to mimic these. And Bronze says Black man plus Black woman equals Black children and Black nation, period. This one. It's pretty disturbing to frequently see Black men in commercials seemingly partnered with everyone but a Black female. What is that about? Who said that Black women don't want good husbands and fathers for their children? I'm grateful for my husband who has always been active and present in our children's lives. My own father and grandfather were hardworking men who took their roles as providers and protectors seriously. And then we need to pledge to all go to therapy, then forgive each other. And then finally, patriarchy is almost non-existent in Black families. This is one of the leading factors to the impeding threat of Black families. What is happening in our culture is systematic, and we played right into it. America did a good job on us, and it's heartbreaking. The only way this will change is if we change. I don't see that happening. Oh my God, these are heartbreaking. Like, we all like to go in and see the drama, but when we are talking serious comments come out. Now, Joe, they did touch on the media and what we see. So do you believe that we are losing the cultural importance of marriage in the Black community?
Yes. And, accountability is one of the main factors here, right? We're not holding each other accountable to the truth, and we sat in the 90s and 2000s. I'm talking from the male perspective, and watched a culture pushed on us that, lifted up having as many women as possible, right? And that was what was popular. So we didn't see any of our heroes or the videos glorify, and they were married and being told not to show that side of themselves. Don't show that you have one wife or one woman and that you're raising your family and your kids and all of these things. Now these same men are, in their 40s and 50s and doing just that, but they left a trail in their after they have a trail behind them of damaged families and broken men with the wrong idea about what was important in life. And for me specifically, I didn't hear until I was maybe in my 30s how critical and important it was just to have one woman and love one woman. No man told me that until I was in my 30s.
I
And
think that's very important for you to share that, Joe. That's very, most of the time you hear the ladies' side of it, but you just said a very powerful statement that more people need to hear. That breaks my heart that you didn't even hear that from someone else as a young man.
no
How
one
do you
told me.
think that impacted you?
No one told me, no one showed me. So when it was said to me, I remember it. Obviously, it's in my core memory now. I looked up and said, and it hit me right away that I have never heard that. I had never heard that. Not even from my own father, who glorified having multiple women. He told me to my face what that was. So another man tell me how important it was just to, to the importance and the value of one woman supporting you and helping you do all the things and lift you up all the time. And if you have one, what it means to like protect her, cherish her, and I had never heard it.
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep. We could have a whole show on that.
Mm-hmm.
Marlo, how do you think the lack of marriage has impacted our children and the future generations?
Well, obviously, if they don't see it, they don't believe it's something that they need to engage in or be a part of at all. So I think it's detrimental to them because it changes the dynamic. I think Athena touched on it beautifully in the beginning, like all of these different relationship dynamic. You polymetric, you bionomic, you like everybody got all of this stuff going on, and it's like none of that is getting us to where we need to be, right? You want to say your ancestors were like this, your ancestors were like that. Were they? Or do you just want to piece and parse what you think they were according to what YouTube is telling you you should be into, and what kind of fly shit you could get off into if you got 6 women, right? So I think that we have to show them, right? Adults are examples, right? We are exemplars for younger people. And I think that we have lost that. I think that there's a generation that lost that. We wanted to be out and clubbing and living our best life and doing, like Joe said, I've heard other men say that nobody told them that they needed to be a good husband, that nobody told them that it was cool to have one woman. So I think that it's, give the children the right example. Give the children an example that says something to want. I wanted the relationships that my great aunts and my grandparents had, where there was this foundational family unit, right? I wanted that because I saw that around me. And I think that we have to get back to that. And a lot of kids aren't seeing it. And they also are seeing all this toxicity through social media with all of these crazy people who monetize their relationships and always need a hook. So, we in a rough patch with these marriages, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm coming from a marital standpoint from me being married for so long. My husband and I have been married for over 30 years, and been together longer than that. My role model was my family, where my aunties and my uncles were the standard for me to see every day. That was important to me. That my house was the house to be for the holiday dinners and the get-togethers and every Sunday. So I didn't hear anything other than how important family was to us. So that's how I was raised. And that was very, very important to me. So a quick question for all of you, just quick and clean, is did you have that same standard as I just discussed? Did you have Sunday dinners? Did you have the holiday dinners in your life? Starting with you, Joe.
So yeah, I had to rub my eyes together after hearing that question, Lala. No, I didn't have those things. Yeah, quick and clean, I didn't have it. I just leave it at that.
Okay, how about you, Marlo?
Yeah, my grandparents' house was that house. It was the hub for Sundays. It was the hub for holidays. So yeah, that was a structure within our family.
How about you, Athena?
Yes, I was actually talking to somebody about this. On Sundays, like we had a Sunday dinner recurring, and I don't know if that's a Jamaican traditional thing or if it was just my family, but Sunday was a day everyone had a bigger meal or a better meal, and we would come together on Sundays.
It's me. I mean, we prepared on Saturday. We were ready. Mom and I were preparing the meal for Sunday. And the thing is, if anyone came to church that didn't have somewhere to go, whether you family or not, you didn't have somewhere to go for dinner, my mom would be like, we got dinner. So come on back. My house was always full. And I feel so very blessed to have that. And I think we do have to get back to that. We have to get back to the basics where the men after dinner would be able to go and have their little man time, and the women would go in another room and have a woman time, but still yet we commune together as a family and friends, because that's what we did. We're so far away from it. I love that so much that I created that within my own family. Once I had lost my mother and lost my dad, our house became that thing. And that's so important to me. So we still have so much more to unpack, and we have a special surprise to you, but we're going to take a deep breath and take this little short commercial. We'll be right back.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Get your money right. FlyNubian.com. Listen, guys, no, we laugh and we giggle about that, but you know what? We hope that you're doing this for real. And then you're going tickety, 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 tick, and going to that website, because we want you to get the resources that you need to make sure that your financial house is in order. Our name says it. Fly Nubian Money. We are all about helping you get your mindset right around your finances. It's the end of the year. We know that you're in holiday mode, but pull back a little bit and really start thinking about how you want to start the year and how you're going to be able to protect your household financially. We have plenty of resources for you, and we don't want you to miss out. So go on over to flynubianmoney.com. We do have another guest who's coming in, another one of our queens who just could not keep still. Come on in, Constance. Come on in. We are so glad that you're going to join us today. You couldn't help yourself, could you?
I couldn't help myself.
So tell us your initial thoughts. I'm sure that you saw the video, and I wanted to hear your thoughts about it because you also are very like, got to get our Black people together financially, build their wealth. What are your initial thoughts on this? Do you think that we are being set up to have these stats be low and be in the teens when it comes to marriage?
Well, that has been the targeted effort, I think, since the inception of this country. And I'm all about understanding white supremacy and how it affects us in every aspect. And I don't believe that you give it power because you speak to it. You just you have to understand. You speak to it so that you can understand what's going on, so that you can protect yourself from it. I do believe that if it's not the marriage, right, because we've had the separation of the Black family from the 60s and the 70s. And then you have all the other things that they throw to try to destroy us. But it just speaks to our resiliency. And I just look at the glasses being half full. They do that because they know that we are such a powerful people. How do you destroy someone? You destroy them from the inside out. And so, taking the family apart, and the breakdown, and removing the man from the family, and then having the women be the head of household, and all these other things. Of course, we have to be responsible for our own actions, for sure. But I believe this is a conscious effort of a system that has been designed to destroy us as Black people.
I agree. Now, Charlene Royal says feminism, the sexual revolution, and welfare have all but destroyed our families. I'm going to ask you, Athena, what do you think about that? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. And not only what I would add to that, and I will say that we as Black people, we need to understand that the function and the family unit is a man, woman, and child. And when we come together, we bring a great power with that.
100%.
However, to take the state into a political route, immigration, abortion, what else is an issue? Immigration, abortion, and gay rights are things that we have been campaigning for with the Democratic Party, and those are things that come against the family structure and unit, and those are things that we need to discuss. All of those issues negatively impact at the Black family and take away.
You about to get some hate mail now, girl, but you're telling the truth.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I know I feel like a lot of us were conflicted in voting because on one hand we understood that, but on the other hand we just didn't like Trump. So I think that was like the real issue at hand. We didn't like Trump, but on the other hand, the Democratic Party has not been truthful to us and have not given us anything to stand on a foundation enough as it pertains specifically to the Black family structure. And we have to contend with that and have to realign our values to what Big Mac was saying in the chat. We have lost our legacy and values. And we need to, not only from a political standpoint, but from a social standpoint and every standpoint, put Black family first.
Okay, well, that brings me to a really good question, because this is a good bounce back. Marlo, how has this independent mindset contributed to the decline in Black marriages? You always hear women say, I can do it by myself. Or, I don't need her. I'm going to do this by myself. So we're saying these things. How can you balance this independent yet bring back the family togetherness? So how has this contributed to the decline in Black marriages?
Well, I think the language is bad, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with independence. We sit here, four of us, I think all of us strong, independent women, right? But I think that when you use that independence as a tool against your mate, right? When you weaponize your independence to make him invisible, when you take that independence to be a tether for him in some way, or some type of a hold or a leash, right? So I think that it got the independent messaging definitely took a wrong turn somewhere. I can't say where, right? Because when I think back and I look, the Black family aesthetic was the Cosby Show when I was growing up, right? And you wouldn't say that Claire wasn't strong or independent, right? But she was lockstep with her husband. They were making decisions together about their family. They were disciplining their children together, right? You would see them delegate that discipline between the two of them. So I think that there is nothing wrong with the independence. I think that weaponizing that independence to emasculate the man or to make the man feel like he is less than is where it gets problematic, right? And one woman does that, now all the women do it, right? Or that's the perception, is that all women feel like that. I feel like I'm independent, but I still need my man child. I'm not about to be out here with y'all playing these games. Like, I don't want to be getting my legs rubbed at night. That's a lie.
I'm telling you, I'm happy with my man. I keeping him, and y'all done heard me say that more than once.
Listen,
and I'm
my man, y'all just my
right?
man and us. Listen,
Right.
Constance, we need to get our man, Constance, so we can be with
Right.
them.
But Joe, earlier on, we heard someone say in the comments of that video, someone mentioned how we all need to go to therapy and to help break down these norms. And it used to be that you would go to counseling and things before you got married. It was expected you to do that. Do you feel that that would be a good way to start for this mindset to shift, is therapy?
Yeah, 100%. And, there is, I believe, a generation of men that are entering therapy right now that are finding out the things that they learned growing up were wrong, and they're being deprogrammed and unlearning some of these things. It's a trickle now. It's not it's not a water hose, not a fire hose. It's a trickle, but it's opening up wider than it's ever been. And and now we're going to try our best to pass that on to the next generation of young men and to get them to unlearn some of the things that we learned growing up about what masculinity actually is, and how we are applying it to our everyday lives, especially in our relationships with women. But we need the women to get in. I mean, they're in there, but we need to get more of them in there as well to understand, some of the things about not only about their men, but about themselves, so that we can come together and start learning how to forgive each other and all the things that we've been told that work against each other, because a lot of it's just not true.
I agree. Constance, can single parent households still achieve the same level of wealth and impact as married ones?
I mean, I've been in a married household and I've been in a single parent household. I'm currently in a single parent household, and my wealth was disrupted with the divorce, in terms of having to divide that. But I still have the same earning potential. So yeah, of course, I believe that you can. It just depends on who's the person that is actually driving the wealth, right? So could the person who wasn't the primary wage earner or the primary wealth builder not do it? Probably not. But I mean, is it harder? For sure. That's the reason why, having a two-parent household, that's the reason why having a husband and a wife is so important. And Dr. Joe, I love what you said. It was definitely an eye-opener that that wasn't the measure, that you weren't taught that. But I think that's the case for so many people. And it's so sad. Like when you think about Russell Wilson and Sierra, how people are calling Russell Wilson a simp because he's taking care of his wife, because he's creating a family, because he prays with his woman. And then they call it, and then they mad because he's taking care of Future's baby. I mean, just that's the kind of thinking that we have in our community that's actually been normalized, to think that something like that, there's something abnormal about a man stepping up, being a father, being a husband, taking care of his family. So we have to change the conditioning and the thought process in our family so that we can change the conversation, change the narrative. But that's the reason why these conversations are so important.
I agree. I mean, we're definitely talking about something extremely important, and especially even more important as we move into this different cycle of what our country is going to face when we're already going to be facing so much division as it is. How do we also make sure that we don't have that division in our families? So Athena, I want to ask you: are Black people prioritizing success and careers over marriage and family? Do you feel that we're doing that?
I think a certain level of Blacks do prioritize success over family, but you have to, those are the ones that are already high achieving, I would say. Even in the dating market, I notice people are like focused on these vanity metrics, how much they make, how much this, that, and the third, and we're forgetting the relational aspects of things. And not, there's a lot of good on paper people, and the resume look good, and the character and all the other stuff can be trash. So I think we play a dangerous game, especially in this level up manosphere, red pill, social media era, right? But what I will say is this: we have normalized within our culture degeneracy. And whenever someone attacks or goes against or promotes family values, people gets attacked, or promotes anything that promotes togetherness, family, people get attacked, right? So I mentioned from a political standpoint, the issues on immigration and gay rights and abortions that a lot of us voted against when we did this election, right? But because most of us are trying to avoid Trump, right? But from the other perspective, there are people even on social media arguing about this woman who cooks and the cook clean narrative and all this other stuff that
Girl, because she cooks and twerks. That's the problem.
Listen, let that girl monetize her stuff. I was proud of her. I was like, listen, go get some money, girl.
My sons are obsessed.
You not in nobody's strip club, and you're not hurting nobody, right? A lot of these men dusty anyway, ain't do nothing. So y'all arguing for men that ain't even do nothing in the first place. However, because this woman is cooking, right, having home traditional family values, which is what we need to get back to, traditional family values, pro-life, pro-family, pro-Black, right? Because even in the midst of all of this, when you do have a Black man who's decent at making a certain amount, all of a sudden he forget who he is and want everything, every bunny under the sun except for a honey bunny, right? Right. So we need to get to the point as a people, as a group, to get back to center. But what I will always say is water seeks its own level, right? So if you are a person who's trying to get with someone who is on the same wavelength, you eventually find it because you're going to reject the nonsense. However, what I'm saying is not enough of us is rejecting the nonsense.
Right. Yeah. Oh, as you can see, we're getting really deep into this conversation. I don't know, y'all. I'm really into this. I mean, it's such an important topic for us to discuss. So why not have it here where our community is watching this and offer some solutions? We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
We got that magical email address. You get to do all the things here. So if you want to be on the show, it's really easy. We talk about really good stuff and you feel like you have a voice that you want to come on and say things to, you have a seat at this platform. So all you have to do is email us at info@realvirtual.net. And I'm going to spell that info@RELVIRTUAL.net. All right. Now listen, I know we were laughing about twerking and things, but we're going to get to another part, but I had to put a little say so in about that because listen, grandma had the moo-moo and still had granddaddy and her having 5 or 6, 7 babies. Okay, so you don't need all this twerking stuff. You just need you a good moo.
She was twerking in that moo. She was twerking in that moo.
That's none of our business. That's none of our business. But anyway, we're going to go to the second part of the video so that we actually can hear what else the good doctor has to say. I just love him. He's a really good person for our community, and I think we really need to be listening to him. So let's check out what the second half of his video is.
For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one. They're number three, and there's a reason for it. So who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians, $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Two are working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income, $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income, $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income, $61,000 a year. Marriage rate, close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income, $55,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%. And projected, based on facts and statistics, that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. We must, this is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it. Oh.
What I love about what he said is this can be fixed. Yes, that'll be another full conversation, but it can be fixed. Joe, do you believe Black couples face more challenges than other races when it comes to staying married?
Yeah. As again, I keep saying, culturally, the things that are in our face are, we've learned, we had a generation of young people that learned that multiple women was the thing. We had a generation of young ladies that thought they had to take their clothes off to get noticed. And now we're seeing the product of that generation. You know what I mean? We're seeing the product of it. And now, oh man, you go outside, you look outside, it's crazy out there. But that's what they're having to do to compete. And then you're talking about a bunch of systems designed to tear us apart and shut us down. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's the truth. They are designed to tear us apart, because if we win, if we come together, we will win. We will win.
Together. That's the key point. And that's where I feel the most frustrated is sometimes I feel like we miss out on that togetherness. But now, Athena, you're a single lady and you're dating. So do you feel that modern dating practices is making marriage less appealing in the Black community?
Listen, I can't tell you the amount of men I've actually went out on dates with who expressed a lack of desire to be married for one reason or next, or either they were divorced or whatever it was. And guess what I did immediately? Expeditiously on to the next job, because I understand for me and what I'm trying to create in my future, especially if you're going to lay down with a man eventually, especially you're going to give him time, money, and energy. Okay, if you ain't making no investment in me, I'm not making no investment in you. And if you don't have family values and value a wife and value children and a legacy, then me and you don't have nothing to talk about. I don't care how much money you have, because trust me, a couple of them try to get me to sign up for a harem, honey. And, it was kind of tempting because, that black car be looking real nice and my own house look real nice. However, that is how much I believe in family and family values and a good sort of level of traditionalism. I, even looking at some of the values, I tend to lean more conservative, because that's kind of how I grew up with, like, those family values. And those are the people who try to remain together as a family. When you look, and to bring it back to politics, when you look at anti-conservatism parties, like the Democrats and all of that, their policies don't necessarily support a family unit, right? The things that they support, which is immigration, which is abortion, which is gay rights, which is all these alternative things, are not beneficial for the Black community. And also, I think it's an agenda to make us the face of those movements. And those aren't our movements. Our movements need to be reparations. Our movements need to be, starting with reparations in general, right? And what is going to be necessary for us to build and create the future and promote Black future. Because didn't George Fraser said, we are 34% now, and we projected to 16%. So guess what? That's going to happen, right? Constance, you always bring the stat by 2050. We're going to have how much wealth? Is it Black? 0. All right, cool.
Well, okay, let's take a step back because we do need to, these stats, my God, I feel like I'm on the verge of tears, but I also feel like this has definitely been set for us all the way back to the time they brought us over. The more that they can separate us, the more they have more power. So even when we felt like we were winning with the civil rights movement, I also feel like things were being put into place to still continue to tear us down at the in the hindsight, make them feel like they're winning something, but yet let's do this. Like, and then our producer actually brought up, wasn't it Hoover that said that the most dangerous thing for America is Black unity? Yes, it is. And Constance, I'm gonna throw that to you. With that thought, do you really feel that it's really dangerous for America to have Black unity? I'm not talking about any other culture. I'm not talking about LGBTQ. Black unity.
Of course, that was the assignment of COINTELPRO, and that's the reason why they did everything they could to destroy us. They put drugs in our community to destroy us. They killed our Black leaders to destroy us. All of those things are very true. They and then even these social service programs, right, that Democrats really promote. And when you talk about the difference between Democrats and Republicans, we have to get to a place, y'all, where we are self-sufficient and independent. And I really do believe, because Black women are now leading in entrepreneurship and income. I do believe that we have the power of Black women. And I'm gonna speak to Black women because we allow so many things. We allow certain things. There's this African proverb that I always mention that says, when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. So with that being said, Black women are the ones who kind of control what the direction of the way things go. The reason why Black men are able to do and get away with what they're able to get away with is because we allow it. The reason why they make it so easy, it's so easy for them not to commit, is because we allow it. The reason why they're not standing up and being fathers is because we allow it. We do not have boundaries. We're not. We don't have pride. We're not setting the standard. It's so easy. Black men used to have to court us. They don't have to court us. Y'all fucking on the first night. Like, there's no standards that Black women are setting to make sure that to keep the Black family intact. And I know Black men are at fault as well, because they should be the leaders. If Black men were to do what they were to do as the leaders of the house, Black women wouldn't do nothing but fall in line. But I do believe that Black women can stop them in their tracks if they wanted to, but they're so desperate to have a piece of a man, to have a piece of something, that they just allow for anything. And if we can galvanize as Black women, we can change the whole narrative.
You got no argument from me. I completely agree with that. Like, I will say, I mean, in my household, I was taught, a young lady, like, and I sometimes I feel like I'm an ancient dinosaur, because young lady, close your legs. Young lady, watch what you say around people. Young lady, speak, there's nothing wrong with being independent, but there is a point to being classy and also putting down what you expect from your partner. And if you want to build that, you're building together. When you do that, you build one another. I love it when my husband comes home and says, babe, I found this outfit for you. This is beautiful. To me, he knows me. He knows what I like. He knows what I don't like. He knows what I will wear. He knows what I won't wear. We have certain language of our own in our household, that even when we're out in public, we can speak that language to one another and know, okay, we out now, let's go. We are in sync. What happened to us teaching each other to be in sync and uplifting one another instead of tearing each other down? But we have been built. This has been put into the streets. This is the yellow brick road that they have laid for us. And I want to bring up these slides that we have, because this is very important. This was from like 1965. The Labor Department released a report titled "The Negro Family: The Case for National Action," also known as the, I can't pronounce that, monolithian report. Had to stumble through that. So y'all had to giggle at Lala on that. The family structure. The high rates of single-parent households among Black Americans were a critical factor contributing to poverty and social issues. 25% of Black children were born to unmarried mothers at the time. This is 1965, y'all. The cycle of poverty. The breakdown of the Black family unit was leading to a cycle of poverty and social dislocation, affecting education, employment, and overall community stability. Now, check this out. Recommendations included a national commitment to improve economic and social conditions for Black Americans through job creation, education, and support for families. Critics argue that he overemphasized family structure, neglecting the significant roles of systematic racism and economic inequality in the challenges faced by Black families. Now, this next one I want y'all to pay really close attention to. 50 years of the Black family crisis, but no one wants to talk about it or admit it. 1960, Black family, 80%. Children born out of wedlock, 20%. 2024, children born out of wedlock, 80%. Black family, 20%. You see how we completely flipped this round? Joe, how can we start making these changes to flip these numbers back around?
Let me fix my throat. Constance is right.
Wait. Say it
It's the
again.
apocalypse. The rapture done came, y'all.
For the people in the back.
If we galvanize the Black woman, but get her to hold us accountable without blame and criticism and contempt, Athena.
Oh, you asking for a lot right now.
Yeah, you asking for a lot. I'm asking for a lot. If we can galvanize the Black woman and ask her to know the difference between holding us accountable and holding us in blame and contempt, then we can really start to fix this problem. But I am asking for a lot right now, but it's going to take a lot for us to get to where we got to go. But honestly, we need her, because we answer to her. And if she's able to hold us accountable up on level 10, we won't go down to level 5 and find them scallywags.
Listen, y'all can stay with the scallywags if y'all want to.
No, I love that. I love that.
You gonna let me finish my thought, Athena? We got to get help for Athena. See, we got to cure Athena and the Athenas of the world, so that we can get what we need to get. Okay, because we need Athena, but she is so mad at us, and her accountability sounds like criticism, and we're not gonna respond to that. That's just to be honest.
Okay, so I have this comment that I need to address, and it's from anonymous persons. He said, it would be nice if you guys had some married women on the panel to speak on this subject. The only married person on the panel is me, so she's good with me, but all the rest of the women are hypocrites. I
was married for 132 years.
And I was married for 163 years. Wow,
so that's what I want to address, ladies. Just a minute. I want to pull back on that, because I know that, but a lot of our panel doesn't. I mean, a lot of our viewers don't. So now I want to actually tap into that comment and get your point of being women who were previously married or in a really long-term relationship. So Marlo, I want to hear your thoughts on that as a single woman now, but being married before. Now, why do
I
you think
think,
that he's feeling like we're being hypocritical?
well, I don't know, because probably not knowing what hypocritical means. But I will say that what Joe said about himself, in his youth and what he learned in his coming of age as a man, I wish more men could admit that, right? I wish more men understood that. I wish that there were more support for men to be able to open up and be honest that they didn't have the tools to be a husband. When I look back on my marriage, that's all it was. He just did not have the tools. He came from a single parent household. By the time he was born, his grandfather was dead. So there was no patriarch, right, in that family. And so he was just figuring it out. But if you figuring it out with the hustlers and you figuring it out with the pimps and you're figuring it out with old boy who don't claim none of his kids in the hood, right? If those are the people that are helping you figure it out, you ain't figuring out shit, right? You figuring out the fast track to divorce court is what you figuring out. And I've said before several times, it's no blame on him because I was also young. I also had bad information. I got bad information from married women who got bad information from unmarried women, probably. But I think that the biggest issue that I've seen just personally in my own life and relationships is that people don't have the tools, and we think that this is easy. We think navigating a marriage, building a family, building a community. A lot of people like to be kings and queens. Well, building a kingdom building is not easy work. And I think that without the tools, you gonna fail. And I think without sharing good information, I think without married couples having honest conversations amongst themselves about what pains them, but also what makes them feel pride. Absent of that, we're never going to have communal success, right? We're never going to have, like, by and large, these great numbers of great marriages that are building families and communities because people are passing on bad information. It's really time for us to just get our minds right, get our hearts right, get everything aligned, and start sharing good quality information and get the ratch out, y'all. We have mastered the ratch, right? We mastered that shit. Throw that shit away. It's time for something new. Let's master not being ratch, right? Because the ratch, we got that shit down pat. I could give y'all ratch right now, but I'm a hold back. Because I want us to find a different way. But I think, we got to focus on some better things to get better outcomes, because we all know the definition of insanity. Joe could tell us that's what he went to school to learn what insanity meant.
Right.
Same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's crazy.
Yeah. But Constance, I want you to bounce off of that for me, please. What are your thoughts on that?
So I was married. I was with my ex for 30 years and we were married 23 years. And so we had shut up. We had what a lot of people from the outside looking in thought was a really solid family. And I made sure that we looked the part. Now, internally, it probably wasn't always that way. But I think, I thought when we were married, we had a pretty good unit. I thought, I was the one that was out there, slaying dragons, and he was at home. But I don't think that's a natural thing for some men. And I thought he was happy with that. I really did. I thought, okay, listen, I'm making him feel like he's a part of everything. I'm making him feel like he's a part of the business, even though he does that. We're good, the kids. And so I didn't learn until we were divorced that that's not naturally what he should have been doing. And I thought he was great. He was a present father when we weren't together, but then when we broke up, the presence was just 100% gone. So he did what I told him to do. But after I no longer told him what to do, he no longer did it. And that was the unfortunate part. So I feel like I take some responsibility for that. Like, dang, if I would have just kept telling him what to do, then he would have, he'd still be here for these kids. But my kids are like, no, we're better off now. So it's unfortunate. So I have a really great dad. I have a really great father who I probably model a lot of my parenting after. And so I just pray for me and my family, with just me and my kids, my 4 kids, that they can actually get that male thing from my dad. And that's what I hope. But, they need their own dad. Like, they call my dad, for money and stuff. They call their dad. He'd be like, no. And they call my dad. And I'd be like, look, you call your own daddy. Don't be calling my daddy. But No, but I'm grateful that I do have my parents as an extension of my family that are there to kind of pick up the slack where they don't have it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, luckily it's happening when they're all like, you know, young adult teenagers. But I wish that wasn't the case, because you need your parents for the rest of your life.
Baby, you can say that again, because I don't have either one of mine. And that's a
Yeah.
cherished thing that I wish that I didn't have to be in that special club of not having your parents. We have really, really, really just started to open the can of worms about this, and we are getting ready to wind down. But one of the things that we do talk about here on this channel, and one thing that is brand new to this channel, is the Fly Nubian Money Club. And if you haven't gotten in on that, now is the time. There is a free trial. This first 30 days is a free trial. We had our first training this weekend, and I was there with you on that first training. Thank you. We talked about home ownership, and we talked about stateside as well as abroad. We had a 2-hour training. Do you feel like you got left out? No, baby, we didn't leave you out. We got a recording for you. So it's not too late to get in and see that training. And we'll be having future trainings in just a couple of weeks. We're going to have another training, but go on and sign up now. Get your free trial going and see what we have for you at flynubianmoneyclub.com. You will be happy. Our purpose of that is to help uplift you in business and finance and family, so that we can get on board of this foundation again and rebuild the things that everybody else wants to tear down. Because as much as many people want to tear us down because they know how powerful we are, not only are we powerful as a people, but financially, our black dollar is needed and wanted, baby, or else they wouldn't be chasing it. So you want to make sure that you join the flynubianmoneyclub.com. Go get that training and sign up for the next one. We really, really want you to get your bag. Now, with that being said, y'all, this hour went fast. So it is final thought time. And I'm going to start with you, Athena. Final thoughts and where we can find you, please.
Final thoughts are this: we need to prioritize Black family first. And from all standpoints, from social, psychological, political, everything. Okay. We can no longer support, especially on a political front, agendas that do not bring forth Black unity, because we are on trend to be a part of that 16% of marriage rate, which is despicable. And we should be ashamed of ourselves as a group. This is directly tied to the poverty we experience. We experience poverty because we will not grow up and take accountability and learn how to resolve ourselves, get along with each other, appreciate each other, come together and gain those skills. Instead of, we are trying to stunt front and look dusty in the process. Also, we need to prioritize within this our own wealth while we are waiting for the partners of our dreams and our futures that will create this strong family unit with. And if you want to learn how to create your own wealth through either launching a business with AI or getting your own personal finances together, you can find my resources at elevatewithathena.com. There I have courses and programs and workshops that will be catered to you to help you to do just that, so that when you do meet a partner, a king or a queen that you would like to rise in life with and build a family and legacy with, there will be some money there for you to do so.
Thank you, Athena. Guys, you need to go and check out everything that Athena is doing. She has some really good stuff for you. And if you're looking for a little bit of a change of direction and you want to jump on the bandwagon of AI, you need to go and check out Athena's course. I always tell y'all what y'all need to do with all of us. I don't care who's on the panel. I need you stalking and chicken hawking. That's what I need you to do. Go and check us all out, because we have something for you. Maybe one person doesn't have something you're interested in, but somebody else does. So make sure that you support us. Constance, what are your final thoughts and where can we find you, please? Can't hear you.
I said, thank you for asking. I appreciate that. You know what Black people really, really, really need? You know what we really need? You pointed out earlier, 1955, J. Edgar Hoover said the biggest threat to America was Negro unity. And they have been successful at breaking down the Black families through various ways. You remember, I don't know if you guys remember that documentary where you seen the Black people on welfare. They could not bring the husbands in the home. If the husbands got caught in the home, they would cut off their welfare. This was all by design. This was all intentional. And understand that when we had unity, when we had to work together, things happened. We kept our wealth. Remember, during the days of Black Wall Street, the dollar circulated in our community, 12 months before it left the community. There is no other community where we've seen wealth last in a community as long as it did. You got the Jewish community where wealth lasts 30 days, the Asian community, 20 days, white, 17 days, Hispanic, 11 days, but ours, 6 hours, $1.3 trillion in spending power we don't spend with ourselves. It's necessary if we want to continue to build our communities. I don't believe what they're saying. I don't believe that in the year 2053, our net worth is going to be 0 because we're a resilient people. We got to get back to practicing collective economics. That is so extremely important. The reason why the dollar lasted so long was because we had to work with each other. But then when we stopped, when desegregation happened and integration happened, that's when we stopped working together, because when we no longer had to, then we stopped. But once we start working together, we're going to start to see a trajectory shift in our community. And one of the things that Joe said that he was right, that I think I was right on, is Black women. Black women, we are the foundation. That's the reason why it's so critical. And as he was talking, I was sitting there thinking, because I do what's called the Net 7 Collective, where I help Black women increase their net worth. And we talk not only about business development, but we talk about personal development as well, because I can show you how to get the money, but in order to keep it and have a holistic, well-balanced experience, you need all of those things. So part of that, I think we're going to go forward and just talk about different things that we can do to really engage our community, not just about financial, but what's the holistic perspective and how do we really approach that so that we can build our families. That's one of the things that's a mission of mine for 2025, is to figure out how we can make that shift. And all these things that we're talking about today starts with you. I'm going to do it with the people that I have, my circle of influence, my family, my community, but you have to do it with your community. Start with you, your friends, your community, and that's how you're going to see a spark, and that's how you're going to see a whole explosion happen within the Black community. But it starts with you.
That's why.
Where can you find me?
Yes.
Everywhere. I am Constance Carter, and the new Net 7 Collective is coming up in January, and I'm excited about it. A new batch of women that are getting ready to take over the world, and they are doing some amazing things in the world, y'all. Holla at me. Go to bookwithconstance.com to see if you can, if this will be a good fit for you.
All right. You got your assignments, so now go ahead and do it. I'm with you, Constance. You know what? You hear that from me all the time. It has to start with us, and that means you. Then when you start with you start with your household, and then you start to shine in your community. Marlo, may I please have your final thoughts and where we can find you?
It definitely starts with us, and it starts with our children, right? I think that we, especially I'll take on my generation, we have gotten away in large amounts from teaching our children their history. Who are they? Who are we? And why are we important, right? We've gotten so settled with trying to get them involved in different extracurriculars and things that make them more well-rounded. And in the process, I feel like they are losing themselves. So if we want to recapture the Black family, we have to kind of enlighten the Black child about who they are and why they're important, and how we got here, right? About Black Wall Street and about all of these great communities that were built by Black people, as Constance mentioned. I think that understanding is important in conflict resolution. I can't say enough. I'll share a quick thing and then I will hop off. My ex, one time we were arguing, he said, "You're just like my mom. You won't let me get a word in edgewise." And I stopped in my tracks because I realized that was a trigger for him. I think that what's important, I learned from an old couple, learn what buttons to push and then push the right buttons, right? Don't push the triggers that are going to get the heat. Push the triggers that are going to bring the warmth. And so I think that if we work together, we can do anything. We are a powerful people. We are a creative people. We always think out the box. Everybody wants to be us on the low, right? And then they want to pretend like they don't know where do-rags came from. They just had a great idea one morning. Take that you are great. Take that and run with it, and make your family great, and work every day to be the best you that you can be, so that the small yous that come behind you know that greatness is in them, and they don't have to go out looking for it because they were born with it. If you're looking for me, I am Marlo Layson. You can find content that I have written or videos that I have produced on the internet under my name, or you can find me on Instagram. I'm Olram Marlo. That's my name backward, forward, then a little underscore on the end. In January, I will be undertaking a very big challenge. I am going to try to qualify for a bodybuilding competition in the amateur ranks. And so I'm starting in January. I'll be chronicling that on Instagram. If you guys want to follow me, give me uplift me, keep me encouraged as I'm not eating and lifting copious amounts of weight. I would appreciate it. I love y'all, and thanks for being here.
I'm excited for that, Marlo. I just think that is absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to be doing the stalking and the chicken hawking. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to be watching that. I want to really see your journey and cheer you on. So Joe, that leaves us with you, my love. What are your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
I'm gonna go. Follow Constance. When she said we was right, because we was right. And what we said, which is a really long cry from our first episode, where she told me I was 1,000% wrong in her closing statements. But to the sisters, to the Black women, like they copying y'all, sis. They copying the span of your hips and the stride of your step and the curl of your lips, all the things that make you a phenomenal woman. And I'm gonna say it again: we need you, and it's a skill to be acquired, to be able to get past your hurts and your confusion and hold people accountable without the contempt, the defensiveness, and the blame that comes along with that. I know that's asking a tall tale. And the brothers, we got to get to a space where our shame allows us to be held accountable so that we can do what we need to do to join together and lift this community together, because we're not going to do it separate. I mean, we can make some progress here and there. I'm making progress in my Black family, but I know as a whole, as a unit, as a monolith, what Dr. Fraser said is correct. And we're gonna need the Black woman to acquire the skill through therapy, through understanding, and we're gonna need the brothers to acquire the skills to be able to communicate what they're dealing with, because step one of the plan was to destroy the Black man. That was step one of the plan the minute we stepped off them ships. And I don't think anybody here is going to argue that. And that plan has been effective. And this is what result we got out of it. So you can find me, Joe Corley or J Corley 80 on socials, on Instagram or whatever. And you can come get on his couch at realuconsulting.com. That's the letter U, not spelled out, because I need y'all to talk to me so that y'all can learn how to talk to each other.
I love that. I absolutely love that, Joe. You always bring such wonderful balance to the panel. And I personally just want to say I appreciate everything that you bring to the table. And so you want to make sure that you go and check out Joe. He's got some good things coming up. You got to follow him, because this is where we start at the basics. And here's my final thoughts. We need to get out of the media streets where we are giving glory to those who are feeding us drama. The more drama you take into your life, the less that you're going to put the attention on becoming to your highest potential in your life. You need to stop worrying about what Cardi B is doing. You need to stop worrying about all these other women that are doing and couples doing their own thing, fighting each other in the streets. You don't want that drama. What you want is peace from within, and peace within your homes, and peace within our community. So stop giving that the attention, because that takes your attention away from the hard work that needs to be done. Now you can find me. I made it very easy at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. I have a lot of great free resources there for you, great articles, great YouTube videos for you to go and look at. But most of all, I really do want you to go to Fly Nubian Money Club. We are doing something so good. And you have the opportunity to get in on the ground right now. So make sure that you go and you sign up to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and you make sure that you subscribe to us on Spotify and put in text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. You want to be a panelist, come on in at info@realvirtual.net. If you need help with your business, you need to use that magical email address there too. And guess what? If you want to get your business in front of people and you're looking for your audience, you can bet they're looking for you too, because people are starting to really pay attention about where they're putting their Black money. That's how important that it is. So if you're interested in advertising with us, send us an email and to request the ad rates, and we'll be happy to send that to you. Listen, my royal panel, I love spending my time with you every single day. And when I'm not here, I miss you greatly. And I want to say thank you, those who always come and support us every day. We see you. We don't take that lightly. We know that you could spend your time somewhere else, but you chose to spend it with us. So we are very grateful. Now, don't miss out on tomorrow's show. Make sure that you join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, uplift yourself, uplift your household, and uplift your communities. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.